Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Everything with you, and Rimmer is one of our co-hosts right here. He's joining us on the stream tonight so that we can discuss what our impressions and our interpretations of 1.1 are. Um, so, Rimmer, I don't think you've ever been on the show before, have you?
No, I have not. This is my first time here.
Okay, so tell the audience a little bit about you, if you don't mind.
Um, Broad subject, college student, working, just enjoy gaming in general, casually. So, yeah, just kind of a stereotypical college kid, I guess.
Okay, well, I appreciate you making a comment about my new Retaliator themed show here. We got the Retaliator cockpit because it actually has a really good sized monitor, right in the center, and then it's got a couple of monitors just to the left and right, which makes uh, this kind of a show really good. So I learned a new technique using Paint.net. So that was actually it's to make
Really beneficial.
yeah, I was actually able to clear up the cockpit and stuff like that, like the glass, so that you could actually see outside the cockpit. Yeah, I mean it was pretty cool. So uh, let me think. We're going to be talking about 1.1 tonight, but first let's talk about some things that are going on the RSI site. Okay, we've got a lot of like new news. I don't know if our show's like every other week, so we usually get about 2 weeks worth of news on the show. So what do we have going on right now? Let me I'm pulling up the website myself just so I can kind of look. We've got the letter from the chairman, of course. Um, New weapon designs. Let's talk about that real quick. They got the design mount update, where they decided to go with fixed guns on all mounts, except when you add the gimbal puck, it forces you to have one size gun smaller. Like, what's your impressions about that? Remember?
Um, since they're going for like modularity, dealing with ships, I think it's a great idea to add that. Just because you could take a ship where maybe you wouldn't be able to have a gimbaled mount and it isn't very effective, um, to say throwing on a very fast firing laser type weapon and having it gimbaled to fill a purpose that you need it to. I also like how there was another thing explained in that, how if you wanted to say add uh, a turret there in that mounting point, that you needed to uh, take away another size of that. There's a post about it, how he
Yeah, that's what I'm
explained it.
talking. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm
Yeah,
looking at the post that just came out.
how
20, what is it? A couple hours
if
ago.
if you want to do more advanced things with a weapon, you actually need to downscale the size of that weapon, the actual tier that you can use there, um, which I actually really like because it kind of forces people to make different builds of weapons and just figure out what the most effective thing would be for them and how they're going to utilize it.
That's Yeah, initially I'm going to say that I was frustrated because I'm so used to having my wings gimbaling left and right whenever and flying with a mouse to point at my targets and pull the trigger. But that um, I understand that the mouse is considered to be overpowered for shooting in the game, and so they want to try to play balance the joystick with the mouse users so that mouse this is supposed to be a flight sim, so they don't want the mouse to be the primary go-to control system because that would be like counterintuitive or whatever. It would be like,
Yeah.
yeah. So they want to kind of nerf the mouse to make the joystick better. um,
Well,
but
the mouse is overpowered over the joystick, so they're just trying to pretty much balance it out. Um, because a lot of people like myself don't have nice joysticks and enjoy flying with a mouse just casually. But I
Right,
mean,
right. I mean, I like flying with a mouse in only because I was able to get my shots on target very easily, OP easily. and, and now that I can't, right? I still can. I just have to do it one size smaller, right? And so I'm trading in firepower for accuracy, and unfortunately, I feel that the accuracy of the mouse is still influencing me more than one size. If that like I can put a size 3 gun on my wingtips, but I can't hit the broadside of a barn with my joystick. So, but if I put a size 2 in there and I can use my mouse, I can still hit stuff. It's just that I'm doing less damage.
right.
So I feel like it's not that big of a difference. I'm still going to stay with a mouse if that makes sense. But just for flying, like when I jump into the retaliator, of course I'm going to use my joystick and my HOTAS because I'm not trying to put a crosshair on a target. My
Right.
my gunners are doing that, and hopefully they're using a mouse.
Well, if this is a constellation to that in a way, when
Right.
I used to have a 300i,
Uh huh.
and that had the can't remember the name of the gun in the nose, but it had two Omniskyes on the sides,
And the
and
mass
whenever
driver up front.
yeah,
Uh huh.
I mean I could hit people all the time with that mass driver just because it was gimbaled, but as soon as I wanted to finish them off with an Omnisky when I was using my mouse and keyboard, it was nearly impossible because being that they were mounted where you're aiming, trying to lead the target with that effectively rather than just using a gimbal and then moving a few pixels to compensate. I
Right.
mean, it's really tough just to try and use WSAD and your mouse to fly effectively in a dogfight like that when you're not using gimbaled weapons.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
if I had a joystick where I could actually like twist it to swing my tail, that would be really effective. I mean, they would be blown out of the sky, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the basically I'm saying that I think they took the step in the right direction, but I think there's still more
Yeah, maybe
tweaking
not
that
far enough.
maybe not far enough, but I I don't always like negatives being the balancing. Why can't there be some positives? Like
Oh
why
yeah.
don't see? So when you're taking something away from the mouse, you're the overall experience is lower. If you were to add something to the joystick, then you're still getting the difference, but it's a better experience instead of a negative experience. If you understand what I'm saying there, because
Right.
I think they're just taking stuff away and they're not adding anything. Uh, the the uh, the thing I'm thing I was going to say is, even though they brought my guns, see, I have Panthers, which are size 3, right? And they're a repeater, and I have these Bulldogs, which are size 2, and they're repeaters, and I can switch to the Bulldog. But this is what I don't understand, and this is might be off topic, but I do not understand why OmniSky 6s are only size 2. So they're the same size. They're still OP, they're super strong, and they're a smaller class that will be allowed to gimbal because I can put size 2
Oh yeah.
OmniSkies on my wings and I can still point with my mouse, so they didn't affect me. Now, if they made those OmniSkies 3s, that would have affected me.
Yeah. Well, we were flying not too long ago together, and I was in my Cutlass, and man, uh, one or two bursts from those Omniskyes take out your shields, and then the rest is just mopping up.
That's right. That's right. I mean,
So
OmniSkies I think they're just too OP, but they've been OP. But I think they need to balance the weapons more so than the mounts. But I understand why they did it, and I think it's a step in the right direction. I do like the fact that you pretty much have to choose um, to gimbal or not to gimbal based on
yeah,
your size, and that's a good step in the right direction. Yeah. So okay. Now the next post was the music. Where Pedro got on there and talked about his music. It seemed like he said the exact same thing he said a year ago when they interviewed him. Maybe it is the same video and they just put it onto Inside Cloud Imperium or whatever.
Copy and paste it.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I don't know if you watched it or not, but
Without listening to what he actually has out, what they're working on for Squadron 42. I mean, I don't think there's a lot to talk about in the same regard. I mean, I think the music that we have so far in game is great. I
no,
love
he
it.
he does a good job. He does a good job.
But I mean, how much there's only so much that you can speak about music without actually giving the music a listen to and being
Well,
able to talk about it.
all the commercials, he did all the commercials music. So
Oh,
like
it's
the 300i and the, except for maybe the Cutlass, right? But he
yeah,
did
isn't the
he
Cutlass the dubstep one?
yeah.
Or the
Oh,
Tango?
the Tango, yeah. Okay, and then the subscriber flare came out, which is pretty cool. And then the South by Southwest event is going on this weekend. Uh, and I'm kind of just waiting for somebody to have a live stream up on that. I know they've recorded it and filmed it live, but now it's the day later. So
Right.
then we have a history, the Foundation of Rights. I'm trying to think of something else. And then the main thing we'll be talking about is like 1.1. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump on into it today. 1.1, right? Well, no, let me back up. I know you play other games, right? And
Yeah.
so, like, are you playing any other games right now that you're excited about and you're having fun and you're looking forward to maybe a sequel coming out or anything?
Um,
Doesn't have to be
I
Star Citizen related, but you know.
I would say um, a lot of first-person shooters that have good stories and good gameplay. I'm really looking forward to, such as maybe a new BioShock game or another, possibly another Arma game. I mean, that one Arma 3 just came out.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's all I can. Oh, Titanfall, the new Titanfall, Titanfall 2.
Oh, really? There's a Titanfall 2 coming out?
Yep, they're working on that right now. So those are pretty much the games that I'm excited for, other than Star Citizen at the
Okay.
moment.
What about Mass Effect 4?
Oh, didn't even think about that. I haven't been following Origin-based games
Okay.
lately.
Next month, maybe? I think is what they said.
Oh man, I'll buy it.
April. Yeah, me too. I mean, Mass Effect 4 is, I like the whole Mass Effect series, so that was good. But I'm playing a little stupid game called Marvel Heroes 2015. Just enjoying that. It's a little MMO where you play a superhero, run around, beat up, you know, thugs. And I'm playing it on like normal mode. I'm not trying to play something too hard. And I seem to be behind on my missions, so it seems like I'm over leveled for all the missions I'm going on. So it's whatever. One of these days I'll get caught up. And then Heroes from the Sky, or Heroes in the Sky, I'm sorry. Heroes in the Sky just came out maybe last week. And it's a World War II dogfighting game. Uh,
Have you played
and
War Thunder?
I have played War Thunder in the past. War Thunder is more of a flight sim, so and it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I like War Thunder. It's fun as anything, but I felt it was just too mentally taxing for me, and it was too much of a grind. I was grinding out missions to get to the next plane and stuff like that. It
Yeah.
reminded me of World of Tanks, World of Warplanes, War Thunder, all the same grind to get to the next tier of planes or whatever. Well, Heroes in the Sky has kind of the same thing, but the grind is so easy. You like go on one mission and you're in the next tier. And then you got to go on two missions to get to the next tier or whatever. I mean, there is some grinding because I did like from level I'm like at level 12 already, so that's or maybe even higher. I think I might even be up to 18 or something crazy like that. So 1 to 14 is like their first set, and then the next 14 is the next set, and there's three tiers basically. And yeah, so I progressed pretty much fast through that game, and it's more of an arcade style game, a lot like World of Warplanes. I don't know if you played that one, but
I tried it. Wasn't my
okay,
style. It was
right.
fun.
And everybody was complaining about mouse being OP in that game too, so whatever. And I'm flying in World, what's it, Heroes in the Sky. I'm flying with a mouse on that, and whatever. It's just a game, and that's all it is. It's not like it's a role-playing game or anything, but it is multiplayer. But it seems like all the missions are co-op right now. I think you have to get to a certain level before you can start going into the PvP matches. Uh, yeah, I just switched over to like a twin-engine fighter, and
Ooh.
yeah, with cannons on it and stuff. So I'm
Oh,
pretty
like a
much
P-38 or a
bigger than that.
VO-217?
No, like a Blenheim or something. I mean,
Jesus.
this thing's big, and I'm like, as soon as I started flying that, I was like, oh, this is better than all my other fighters. But I'm still sort of in the low levels. Like Buffalo is my best plane, which is a early Navy fighter. I haven't even got to the Wildcat yet or anything.
Single engine. Does it have a fixed landing gear, I take it? Or
No, no,
is it
no.
the newer Buffalo?
The Buffalo has landing gear that fold up into the fuselage, and then you can still see the wheels, you know, but it looks a lot like a Wildcat, but just a little bit different. But either way, I'm enjoying that. I was having a good time. And then of course Xenonauts is just like XCOM, and I've been playing a lot of that. But that's pretty much the only 3 games I've really been playing. Oh, this weekend, all the X series is free to play. So on Steam. So I've been playing X Rebirth, trying that out, seeing if I know it's a few years old, but what the heck, I was still trying it out, just checking it out. Um, it does seem like the character models, they didn't put as much effort into that as they did the ships. The ships are beautiful looking, but when you get down to the characters, they kind of,
Well,
I
that
don't
just
know.
seems like a lot of games where the main things that people will see, they put a lot of time and effort into, but things that maybe aren't as grand or the main moneymaker for the game,
Right,
they don't put as much time into.
right, right. Well, that's smart, but uh, I just wish they had maybe put a helmet on these people or something to hide their face,
Are they
because
ugly? They're
oh
ugly?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, extremely. Okay, so so let's get into 1.1, right? Uh, Now, it's not released yet, but it is on the public test universe. Last week we talked about the REC, so we're not going to really talk about REC this week. Okay, let's talk about and we really don't even need to talk about gimbling because we just talked about that. So
Right.
what are some of the other things that are coming out in 1.1 that you're excited about, or that you?
Well, apart from well, the FPS module, which is supposed to come out with or shortly after 1.1, is what I'm actually really looking forward to. The smoother animations, which they had talked about when moving your character model, is
Right,
another thing which they
right.
recently had said about adding in. And well, after 1.1, maybe a couple month, the social module. So I mean, they're just kind of modules, I guess, but they seem really interesting to me. All kind of crunched within that general timeline of maybe within a month, 2 months of each other.
Yeah, you're lumping them all together in one thing. Uh, yeah, we all had thought that 1.1 was going to include the the social module and the FPS module, but then they
Doesn't look like
clarified.
they could make that deadline.
No, yeah, so they clarified that and said that 1.1 is now, which isn't. So it's going to be next week, and then like a week or two after that, we'll see the social module, and then like a month after that, we'll see the FPS module, and I am totally excited to see the FPS module, and I'm excited to see the social module. But the damage states
Oh
in
my God, those are
1.1,
beautiful.
yeah, with the Gladius, they show the getting shot, and the system procedurally generating the damage. Now, um, for it
So
to
did they?
go ahead.
I know that the mesh on the ship itself is procedurally generated, but the damage to the chunks that break off,
Yep.
Are those 100% procedural, or are
No,
those
no.
like
They made chunks, but
it's
the
still amazing?
basically they make large portions of the ship, and then the procedural damage system determines when to break it off or whatever. If enough of the area around it gets damaged that it falls off. But what I was going to get at was, and it kind of dawned on me last night when I was doing my Retaliator. Uh, we did the walkthrough, which lasted like 3 hours. Walking around through the Retaliator. That didn't
Yeah.
really. It didn't happen then. After like at around 1 o'clock last night, I took about an hour to film a video of the Retaliator, without any other commentary or whatever, and just hitting on specific topics and then finishing the video, right? So, and it wound up being about a 30-minute edited version. But my point is, to get into the upper deck, you have to kind of glitch yourself through the wall to get in. Okay, that'll be fixed in the future. But right now, we're glitching ourselves through the wall to be able to get into that upper deck.
Right.
There's kind of two steps to do that, because once you glitch in, you wind up being like inside of like between the walls or something, and then you do
Then
it
you have to
again,
bug in again.
right? And then you got to keep pushing yourself, and then finally you show up inside the hallway. Well, when I was inside the fuselage, basically, there are pipes and conduit and lines running through this thing, and it's modeled obviously, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, why would someone waste their time modeling this pipe running from point A to point B that no one will ever see? And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, because if somebody blows a hole in my ship, then those pipes are going to be exposed. So it's going to be like, uh, you're shooting at the Retaliator, the procedural generating system makes holes in the fuselage or whatever, the outer skin, and you're going to be able to see those pipes underneath.
Right.
And that just like filled me with like anticipation. Like, wow, once they do the increased damage states on all the different ships, which basically means they're going to have to go in and model all the different working parts, whether you can see them or not, and then let the procedural damaging system damage the ship instead of having to create like 500 different meshes for the ship, because they said they have like 20 or 30 different parts, and every one of them have multiple levels of damage, like 25, 50, 75, 100% damage. And then they put everything together as 100%, but gradually as one thing gets damaged, before they would swap it out with a new damaged piece, right?
Right.
And then it would gradually get destroyed. And so your client had, when it loaded a ship, it
It had
loaded
to load that.
all those meshes, right?
Yeah.
And you wind up loading like 100 or more meshes or whatever, right? More than that. I think he said 500 meshes. And that is why you see when like Vandals spawn into a match or another player spawns into a match,
Get a big spike of
you get a lag,
lag.
right? Yeah, you get that lag spike because the system is trying to load all these parts, where they're going to eliminate that. Well, maybe not completely eliminate it, but reduce it by only loading the 100% ship in, and then letting the procedural generating system
Do
create
its
all
work.
this. Yeah, do its work. What do you think about that? I mean, that seems pretty exciting to me.
Well, in a large area, when you're having that many people, if you were to have, say, 50 people in each mesh was what did they say the original starting size was? Like 300 megabyte each for each ship that's loaded into a game.
Sounds about right.
I mean, if you were to have 100 people in, that's what? How many gigs would you need
Right.
if you were to load all of the meshes? And sure, there'd be duplicates, so you wouldn't be technically using up that exact amount of memory. And sure, some of that would be put into your the pooled memory for your CPU or your GPU because it's being used. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's still a lot of memory being used, regardless of how much you have, or uh, if it's sent in your GPU or your CPU or in your system memory right now. So as long as it saves on system taxing for something like that, because we don't want it to be the Google Chrome of browsers where all it does is eat memory all day. So yeah, people who have 8 gigs of memory or maybe even 16 gigs of memory will be able to multitask and not have to worry about running out of RAM while playing the game, I guess.
And yeah, I mean, I've noticed a speed up of map transitions. Like
Yeah.
when I load up Arena Commander and I'm going into a match, before it would take me 1, 2, 3 minutes to get in. Now it's like boom, 30 seconds or 1 minute. You're getting in. I mean, that's still maybe too long, but
Well, check out the map, how large that the map size is, and what's all in it.
I'm
I
not
th-
having to load everybody's damage states. So
right.
yeah, so I think it's a step in the right direction to help us load the the games faster. And
Well, they
then
said that there was one of the developers in, I believe it was Austin, said it was like one of those rare times where it becomes more efficient on the user system, it becomes more efficient on the server end, and it becomes more efficient on load times, something like that, where there were no negatives to them doing this. Oh, it also cut down on the amount of time it took to make a new ship. So I
right, okay, I
there
could see that because they don't have to
conceivably
build all
no negatives.
those chunks. All they need to do is make damaged chunks.
Hmm.
They don't need to make the intact chunks and plug them all together because all they do is make one good ship, some damaged chunks, not a whole lot, and then let the procedural damage system take care of
Do its
everything.
work. That's
Yeah.
that's somewhat like they did with the new shield system, to where they were making it to where rather than them putting the shield on a ship, the shield would generate around it because of a system they had put in place. So that way they wouldn't need to go map out where the edges, well, it's around shield, but the edges of where the shields would be, that it would go on as a mesh right over the ship itself.
I'm going to step one question back because we got a question on the server on the stream, and maybe you can help me answer this. But it looks like SFB Metallic is asking, do you think the standardization of weapon mounts with gimbals being universally available is going to affect the ships physically? There are a few ship designs that could cause issues.
So the few ship designs that would cause issues, I assume, would be Gladius and the Avenger, which have their own mounts right now, and then well, it would look kind of ugly putting a gimbal mount on some other ships. Um,
The only like an Aurora, let's say,
yeah.
right? The Aurora right now, everything's fixed, right? They don't have any gimbaled anything. Normally, I mean, in the past, I mean, that's what it was. But right now, in 1.1, could you attach a gimbaled mount there and then put your weapon on it?
Well,
And now,
if they're using size one, if they only have access to size one mounts, no. But I think
then they can't have a gimbal, right?
right. So that might actually be good, because then you won't have a bunch of people in Auroras with their 4 Badgers or whatever coming after you with gimbals.
Yeah, I'm not sure that wouldn't cause it could, is what I'm saying. It could cause issues with certain ships. I just can't think of anything that would not benefit from that system.
Right.
Uh, Let me just kind of briefly go over all the ships in my head, right? You got the 300 series.
It has
There,
2 size 2 and 2 size 3. It looks like the Aurora LN
okay,
for mounting. So I mean, you could conceivably put 2 Omnisky's gimbaled and then 2 Badgers gimbaled, something like that.
right, right. Um, what about? mm, I don't know. Well, for one thing, I think they need to redo the size of the weapons themselves
Oh yeah.
and figure that out right now. And once they figure that out, then the hey, Luminov, the it'll probably still be another couple months down the road till they refine it even more. Because I'm sure it's going to go through multiple iterations of multiple different changes. And right now they're just going to test it the way it is now, and we'll see what we get out of it. Okay, so back to the damage states. So I'm excited because apparently the Gladius and the Retaliator are the first two to have the procedurally generated damage system worked into their makeup. And when I was spawning through the wall and you could see all the different components of the ship in there, I was pretty excited. Now, what I remember when Chris Roberts first started this game, Vision, and he was describing how he wanted the damage system to work, was like if your shot went through an area in your ship that contained your, I'm just going to use this as an example, flight computer, then that shot would damage your flight computer.
Right.
Not just like you get hit and they roll a die and determine what you've gotten damaged. He doesn't want that. He wants that the shot actually penetrates a certain part of your ship, is going to damage a certain part of your ship. Like really, really good pilots could, especially on bigger ships, but could really focus on maybe the engines, and just shoot at the engines, or they could focus at a thruster, or they could destroy your guns, or they could destroy, your
I'm
sensor.
I'm just thinking of Star Trek with that. Like, Captain, our engines are gone.
Yeah, target is engines. Yeah, exactly, and targeted life support. But you reviewed the PTU version of the Retaliator. That's correct. So, and that's the cockpit we're in right now. It's the Retaliator. No, he was asking if I reviewed the Retaliator. But no, so yeah, what I'm saying is I'm just excited about the damage system. I think it's going to work better for loading screens. It's going to work better for transitioning from instance to instance. It's going to work better for actually just visual appeal. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you look at it and it's just so much better looking than the default. Because before it was like you had canned results. Every time you shot them,
Look
you
at the
got the
Cutlass
exact.
right now. Look at what happens when the entire aft section is just blown apart. How ugly the thing looks.
And it looks the same every time.
Yeah.
With the procedural one, you'll actually get different states of damage, and I just think that's the way to go. That's just the way to go. Okay, so let's talk about what's another thing that happened in the 1.1. Well, here I'll show the audience this little snippet
Oh,
that you
clip I
showed
sent
me.
you. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see if I can get. Can I get this to be larger? Yes, I can. All right, there we go. It's not as high resolution, but okay. Uh, Here we go. And okay, so now remember before I play it, you go, or I'll play it a couple of times, and you just let the tell everybody what they're seeing.
All right. So right now in 1.1 in the PTU, you're actually able to land a Hornet, and when you land a Hornet, maybe 15, 20 meters off the ground, the two wings where your weapons are mounted actually fold back behind themselves, similar to what a like what is an F-15 would do when it's going supersonic, to limit the amount of air going to the engines and to
Or
become a
no,
sleeker profile.
no, or like a Tomcat or whatever.
Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. Tomcat's
And
more of a carrier plane, so yeah.
well, this
I Go ahead.
I was just going to say this is why this will be a lot easier to pack in ships tightly and to somewhat, if you want to go this far, protect those wings from being nicked while you're landed. So if there is a bad pilot, you won't have to worry about him damaging just the wingtips of your fancy Hornet.
Yeah, and I was telling Rimmer earlier. I was saying that because it's a carrier, fighter. You want to conserve as much space as possible when storing fighters on your ship. So this is just perfect. I mean, you land, the wings fold up, you can pack in more Hornets into a smaller area. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I'm totally okay with that. What's some other things that happened in 1.1? Oh, landing. Okay, we can now land. Yeah, I mean, we just saw it right there, but they are saying that one of the reasons why they're not releasing 1.1 publicly is because there's glitches or problems with the landing, right? And it's, but I guess that happens on ships other than my Hornet because I've landed my Hornet a number of times and hadn't had a problem. And it's pretty easy actually. I find it to be easy. Have you landed anything like your Cutlass or anything?
I actually haven't tried to land my Cutlass
Okay.
because I feel like if as soon as I try and land the thing, something will go wrong.
No, no. Well,
I'll be a sitting duck.
well, it's only in free flight mode anyway. I mean, you don't have any landing pads in a combat situation, so. But like if you landed there and I landed next to you, I could get out of my Hornet and get into your Cutlass.
That might be one hell of a way to test flight a plane or a ship before you buy it. Is just have your friend land
And
and
loan it to you.
you
Well, not just that, but you can stay in the cockpit and I can get in.
right.
And then you can fly me around.
Take you on a tour.
Take me on a tour of the map, and that's it. Because
Luxury cruise line with
because
Rimmer.
it looked like there was a guy who did a video where he picked up his buddy and he tried to fly. He flew through the edge of the map.
Oh, and he went to the Broken
He went to the Broken Moon. Yeah,
Moon.
one of the guys, I think the passenger, got kicked out and got killed, but he didn't. So he just flew all the way to the. It only killed one of them. So we should try that. That's what I'm thinking. Um, what else? Okay, so we got the landing. You got the something I saw in 1.1. You got your opponents are now numbered. Where when you're going up against the Vandal, I'm just going to use them as an example. You know, when they spawn in, you're going to see Vandal Scavenger 1, Vandal Scavenger 2, Vandal Scavenger 3, and your
Doesn't
opponents will see the exact. I mean, your friends will see the exact same numbering system.
and doesn't it also identify if that target had been locked onto by a friendly as well? So that way you don't have you don't go after each other's
That I
uh,
don't know, but I know
enemy
that we
target.
can. I know that we can call out our targets in TeamSpeak or something,
Yeah,
and everybody will see that exact same number and know what to do. If they do have a way, I haven't seen that, but then again, I haven't really been looking for that. So maybe I should try. We should try that. Yeah, so that's really good about it's a step in the right direction on coordinating everybody's fire, and so people aren't all shooting at the same target or somebody's getting chased and he sees like he's getting chased by Vandal 2 and he calls out, hey, can somebody get on Vandal 2? Everybody will know who that is. So that's kind of cool. I like that. What else? Chaff. The way the chaff looks. I don't know if you've kind of taken a look at that, but it like launches out these little um, poppers, and when they get out to range, they pop like a firework, and then you see glitter in the cloud. You know, so when you fly through the cloud, it's all glittery and smoky, and
fabulous.
it's it's fabulous. I give it 3 snaps. Okay, but either way, it's so yeah, the chaff looks good. What else? What else looks good? I don't know if you guys have flown into the what is it? Broken Moon, Dying Star. Dying Star is the one with the flame, right? I don't
Yep.
remember. Dying Star has remember that base, that little space station that everybody sees. It used to have these like wings that went on like it would have like 6 or 8. I don't remember. I never counted them, but there was like 6 or 8 of these arms sticking out, and then they would have these perpendicular, look like solar panels on them, kind of all the way around. Well, they've completely taken all those off.
Oh man.
Yeah, so the things stick out, but there's just no solar panels. Uh, what else? Let me think.
Maybe they're updating assets and they
And they just
didn't.
didn't upload that, right? That's
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking that making it. What do you call it? Like giving them PBR or making them, more graphically,
Better,
or
I
maybe
guess.
giving
So
them their own
rework.
damage states, procedural
That
damage
is a
states.
possibility. I mean,
Right.
You want to take out an enemy, you got to take out his power. You can do that over a small period of time by destroying solar panels.
And then they had the, uh, okay, I opened the wrong window. Not just that, there was the, oh, asteroids. I was able to blow up more asteroids this time than I have in the past. So I can fly up to an asteroid, shoot it a few times, and it would break up into multiple chunks. Uh, I've seen somebody actually take over a Vandal ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was they just because and I think that's AI programming that needs to be fixed. That's not like a benefit. That's a negative. The Vandal, if you know, if there's no enemy aircraft, spacecraft in the air flying actively, they stop and they wait around. They just kind of hover until someone spawns in. But when you eject, they count you as dead, but you still have your body in space. You can fly over to one of these stopped Vandal and then take over the ship. And I think that the Vandal would at least defend themselves, fly off or whatever. But
They're
they
just
don't.
sitting there, all
They just sit
menacing
there,
like.
yeah, and let you just shoot them with your hand pistol, until you can actually get into their ship. So they need to fix that.
Maybe
But
their alien eyes can only see large targets. They can't see small things.
or yeah, they can't see anything close. No. uh, so we got that. What else is in 1.1? We already talked about Wreck. That was last week. We talked about something else last week, but 1.1. Oh, character skin. The actual person, like you were talking about, the way they walk and move and stuff. You can go prone now, right?
I haven't tried that.
I have gone prone. I have gone prone. You can crawl around prone. You can even shoot prone. But if you shoot while you're prone, you instantly jump up about at a 45-degree angle and fire your pistol and then fall right back down on your belly. So it's kind of like a snapshot. It snaps you up and fires and drops. You snap you up and fires and then drops. The problem with that is, well, first of all, that's a problem right there. You should be able to just stay prone and fire your pistol. But the main issue that I have with that is when it pops you up, your boots stay straight on the ground, and then at the top of your boots, you go up at a 45-degree angle. So it kind of like breaks your ankle every time you shoot your pistol.
Whoop.
That's right. I saw one guy actually do a combat roll, like he rolled to the left somehow, and I don't know how he did that. I'm gonna have to do some experimenting with that, but I saw that.
Oh, that means that they're adding in combat stances rather than just like standing crouched and prone, which is a really good thing.
Yeah, I mean, they have lean left and lean right in there right now. They have a lean command in the controls. I haven't actually seen anybody lean, and what that probably means is with my track IR, I can actually take my avatar and have him lean. Hopefully that's coming down the line.
Well, even if you can move your head independently of your body, so that way you can like watch a corner, or you can have your gun aimed at like a doorway and still peek around and watch your back. You could use your track IR for something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's gonna be super exciting about that, I think. And then, okay, let me think. What else came out in 1.1 that I know of, other than the Retaliator and the Hornet? I mean, the Retaliator in my hangar, and the Gladius being flyable. Yeah, guys, if you want to see a walkthrough of a Retaliator, go ahead and check out my video on YouTube. I've got a video where I walk through the Retaliator and show off all the pluses and minuses, because there's some minuses. Let me think. Is that about it? I mean, is that pretty much 1.1 right there in a nutshell?
Um, in a nutshell, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the double precision. Okay, they're talking about increasing map sizes and stuff. I mean, not immediately, but they'll be able to. Chris has said that, let's talk about instancing just for a second, because at the PAX East, Chris and Travis both had an interview with various online gamers or whatever, and those are up on YouTube too, but they basically said and explained the instancing, and we can go into detail on that later, but one instance can be the entire system.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll have your ships in their own little areas and in that one large instance. And then there'll be an instance inside the ship.
So like
And
layered instancing,
right, and the instance inside the ship doesn't need to know what's going on outside
which will
unless you're at a
save
window.
load, which will save load times.
Right, and then so every ship's insides will have their own instance, and then he said could on larger ships even break down even further, where like a deck might be an instance or a room might even be an instance, and because you don't, if you're on a deck, you don't need to see what's going on E
Right.
deck or whatever, right? You can't see it. So, and same thing with the ships. I mean, if you're flying in a ship and you're the pilot, yeah, you need to know what's going on outside, of course. So you're going to have that fed to you, but you don't need to know what's going on inside that other ship. So you don't get to see that. That's a completely separate instance. And I thought that was it's a really cool way to go about doing it. And since they picked up the Crytek guys from Germany and started their Frankfurt office, and those are the guys that gave them that idea and they're running with it. And it seems like that's going to speed stuff up too because you're not going to have to load all the interiors of every ship.
Right. And I
Yeah.
mean, when each ship has probably more polygons than the entire like Nuketown 2025 in Call of Duty. I
Right.
mean, I could see where loading that multiple times over and over would be a problem.
Right. Right. Exactly. And I got excited about when he said that you'll have a couple of different capital ships maybe in the area, right? And they'll each
Mm-hmm.
have their own interior instances, which also might be broken up. And then on the outside, there should just be one large instance, and the only thing being rendered is those two capital ships, right? And so that's not going to be too big of a problem because you're only loading the surface area, right? And then if they launch a fighter or something, you're going to be you're going to be rendering just the fighters and not. So that now you've only got like 3 or 4 or 5 ships in this one instance. And then when if there is a bigger battle, like over 100 ships or something like that, then they can split the space in half and basically make 2 separate instances. And they don't want to do it geographically. They said it's not going to be the instances aren't going to be geographically. They're going to be some other term he used. And but he said we explain it geographically because that's what we can conceptualize or whatever. He's talking like as if he was a god. I mean, like we can't we can't conceive of it. It's so
You don't know what I know.
that's right. But when they said like they'll split up the instance, and then when you fly close to the edge of the instance, whatever, that edge of that instance could move with you, or the as you're flying. It's not a fixed location. That's an instance. The instance is fluid and will move with your fleet or whatever. And so
Huh.
I thought that was pretty cool because, and then when the two instances collide, they're going to some people
Merge.
will, yeah, so, well, not necessarily merge. Depending on how many there are, it would merge. Like if there's 5 in our instance and 5 in their instance, yeah, we'd just be one instance. But if it's reaching the limit of the instance, they'll still keep the 2 instances, but some of your guys will be in the other instance and some of them will be in this instance.
Right.
And then you'll never know when you switch instances because they don't want that World of Warcraft or the Eve Online or not Eve, EverQuest Online or whatever, where you go hit the lion and then jump on the other side of the instance and the lion can't get you.
Right.
So they don't want any clearly defined lines, so they're going to allow those to kind of flow with the battle.
And they should.
And yeah, Lumavox is saying that the clients are what they're going to be the biggest limiter for rendering. And yeah, I don't know about that. Not anymore, anyway.
I mean,
now that I'm only rendering what I can see. Go ahead.
I was going to say, even if technology now doesn't make it to where we can do something like completely awe-worthy for rendering, just give it time, and they'll update their servers, and we'll update our gaming hardware, and eventually we'll just get to the point where we may not even need to instance nearly the scale that we do now. So that way we'll be able to make the game look even better and be, well, more
Yeah,
realistic, I guess.
yeah. I mean, well, first of all, it does look really realistic already. I mean, of course, when I look at my ship and stuff, I can tell it's a game. Okay, I look at it, I go, yeah, this is a game model, but it is really close to being, I mean, it's less cartoony than World of Warcraft. Let's just say
Oh yeah.
that. There's some of these games, even Conan. I'll play Conan, and that's a fairly, mature game or whatever, and it still looks like a game.
Even though this game has been in development for what, like close to 2 years, I guess, it's
Yeah, maybe
still,
even longer. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, even the older assets still look great.
Yeah.
Like,
Even the old Bengal looks good.
I mean, you want to go whole like PC Master Race 4K at 144 hertz in the future. I mean, this game is going to be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait for 4Ks to come down. But let's shift gears a little bit, and we'll finish up the show. I just want to talk about the FPS module that the pieces they showed in the PAX East demo. They showed a walkthrough of New Horizon, and then they showed a little bit of what do you call it, gameplay of the zero G stuff, right? So first of all, before we go, we'll talk about the easy one, the walkthrough of the Gold Horizon. Gold Horizon. I mean, what'd you think of that space station?
Amazing. I mean, it looks great. From an FPS standpoint, it isn't designed to be maybe arena. Well, it's obviously not arena style, and I don't know if it's designed to have specific like firing lanes where maybe you could look down a hallway and look past just barely between a couple of corners, and you could see maybe for a split second somebody walking by.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does look good, and there'll definitely be some engagements like in that mess hall area where
Yeah.
you should be able to set up, or in one of the medium-sized rooms, as
And the
well as
hangars too.
oh yeah, there's a hangar, and then there's like the warehouse
Right.
aspect.
Where they did the zero G thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here's what I thought. And don't everybody out there that's Chris Roberts lover and you're a fanboy, don't hate on me.
Mystery, you're gonna say something that disagrees with the circle jerk opinion. Stop now.
That's right. I don't understand the space station. Okay, and I kind of understand why they designed it the way they did, in that they were limited in their vision. But, okay, I understand this ship's kind of a semicircular kind of thing, right? So why aren't the hallways like 2000 Space Odyssey, 2001, where you can walk around in a circle with gravity pointing all the way on the outside or whatever? Because CryEngine doesn't support that. So they want to. I don't understand why the halls are straight. When you're on the outside of the ship or the space station, it's in a circle. But when you get inside, it's straight and then stairs and then straight and then stairs, and that's how they make it a circle. That just doesn't make sense to me. Everything should be kind of like circular, or no, they should all be. It should be circular. And like you said, it's not meant to be it's not meant to be like an arena, like you said, because it's not. It seems like there's only two ways to go. You go left or you go right, and it's in a big circle, right? And there are very few like turns left and right where you have corridors, but most of it seems like it's one long hall and like rooms off to the side. Like I think that's what you were trying to say. But I can still see the hangar being a pretty awesome location to fight. I can see the warehouse area where they did like the zero G combat in the demo. I can see mess hall, and maybe there's a bunch of other rooms too, like medical facility or whatever. And you never know what kind of the situation is, and it's really just to test the first person combat anyway for for Star
Hmm.
Citizen. It's not really meant to be a successful arena. I think it's just meant to see if the guns shoot straight, to see if the armor stops bullets, to see if we don't clip through walls, and make sure that we can turn the gravity on and off. And I think that's what it's mainly for. But I'm still going to have a lot of fun running around inside that space station, even if it's not
Um,
round.
Lumivox, I just posted a YouTube video that was from the PAX East presentation, I believe.
Yep.
And that is a walkthrough of the FPS mine area place. So that should give you a good idea of how large it is. The video is actually quite long.
Yeah. Gold
For
Horizons.
Yep, while he's walking around in there, but it looks
Yeah.
great everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they can definitely make a map. Let's just say that they can
Hmm.
definitely make a map. Now, if they can make a map, I have I have a good feeling that their Crisis engine is going to be able to do a good FPS inside that map. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so now we're done with that. Let's go to the final topic. What about that zero G arena? What'd you think about that?
Apart from the tractor beam issues and the people who were playing it not knowing what they were doing, I liked how it looked. Um, and I liked the idea behind it. Although I don't know if people will utilize the ability to grab onto walls and whatnot, because it just seemed like they were using strictly tractor beam.
Mhm.
But
I think the
it sh
grabbing is automatic. When you like bump into a wall, even now, like when my avatar walks into a wall, he puts his hand up to try to grab something, even
well,
when he's
I
not
know
in
it's
zero G.
automatic, but
They
like
weren't doing it.
you go right past it. Like they're they don't grab onto something. They just kind of like push their hand on it and like use their
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
friction of their palm. So
Right, I
there is
got
no
you.
like grabbing a corner and like holding onto it. So
I got you. I
you
got
need
you.
a low enough momentum to actually grab on.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. I was getting ready to say that. I think that they were hitting it so fast that they didn't want to rip their arm out of their socket. Well,
Dislocated shoulder in combat wouldn't be a good way to
yeah.
go through.
Now they have that gun, right? It's not only they call it a grapple, but it's
Hmm.
not only does it pull, but it also pushes. So uh, the way the Elphonic team described it a couple of weeks ago on Around the Verse was you'll shoot it because they explained it because they said they couldn't figure out what kind of a beam they wanted it to look like because it's supposed to be like a gravity wave and you can't technically see that, but they wanted to give some kind of
Visual
visual cue,
representation.
right, that something's happening. So they had to come up with some kind of beam, and so I think that's still going to be worked on. But they're supposed to be able to beam anything, right? You go towards it and you gradually pick up speed as you're pulling yourself. And then when you get close enough, the device is supposed to automatically switch to a repulsor so that it slows you down. As long as you maintain that beam, it'll slow you down. And maybe these guys playing it didn't know that. So
Right.
they just stopped and then they slammed into the thing. So if they kept the beam on, the beam would have slowed them down and given them a cushion to grab on, you
Yeah.
know. And I think that's a really cool idea. And then, but the whole Enders game, flying around in the dome, shooting pistols at each other, and I don't know, going through the. It's cool as a game. Okay, don't get me wrong, as like a basketball, hockey, rollerball, or whatever kind of game where you're trying to get to the other side and get through the hoop or whatever. That's really that's really cool. Don't get me wrong, I like that as a game. But I'm not gonna be playing that. It's like what do you call it? Capture the core. I don't play that very often,
Hmm.
because I don't feel like I'm getting anything out of that kind of an experience. Now, on Gold Horizons, when someone turns the gravity off, I feel like I'm going to be getting my practice in on how it's going to happen in the real persistent universe. I'll be able to push and pull and fight in a zero-G environment like I normally would be in the actual game.
But what the question is, will they have the grappler in there, or will they only have the suit, your like your pack to
Your
move
little
around?
thrusters or whatever, or even
Yeah.
if that even, right? Yeah, so I don't know. I'm looking, well, you probably will be able to pick it up with REC or something,
Hmm.
and maybe you'll own one. But yeah, honestly, I'm not really looking forward to playing in the 3G arena. I mean, yes, I'm going to do it a few times and I'm going to experience it, and I'll play with my buddies or whatever. We'll go drop in a match or two of that, but that's not really, not if the Gold Horizons is available, will I be going into the arena. That won't be my first choice, is what I'm trying to say. I'd rather go to Gold Horizons with my full automatic laser rifle or whatever and try to, take on some
Pirates.
bandits, some pirates, or some bandits, or something. So
Yep, I'm right there with you. Plus, when you're in that, did you notice that when people were in that arena, they could not shoot anything at all? Like they had terrible aim, they couldn't lead,
I
and it
was,
didn't it,
yeah,
it didn't give you a good representation of what the first person like shooter style combat will be. I mean, for the range that they were at using a pistol, that was insane. And I mean, sure, it was zero G, and that's great, and you should be practicing in zero G like that.
mhm.
But I mean, it won't. That's only one part of the module. Plus, when you're flying around and you're actually planning to be in an engagement like that, I doubt you'll just have a dinky little laser pistol.
Exactly. Not just that, but yeah, no, it's good. It's good practice to when you're both floating in zero G that you, it's like you're moving and trying to hit a moving target. So
Hmm.
yeah, so it's like double the difference. But okay, well, yeah, I agree with that, and I look forward to shooting some baddies with you in the Gold Horizon. Now I'm going to close this show with a FPS commercial.
All right.
First Royal Aerospace Squadron, if I can find it.
If we can find it.
And you guys can just go ahead and laugh out there. You can just start laughing now.
All right.
Shh, I can hear you.
Крутые парни по всей стране, кто связан дружбой с ВДВ. Такое братство, надежный щит, никто Россию не победит. ВДВ, с неба привет, ультрамариновый набо-берет. Феникс с волной и море погон, с неба навеки десант обручен. ВДВ, сколько побед, из парашютов белый букет. Радугой мирной порядку пола, слава десанту, честь и хвала. В Центральном парке салют в Москве. Мечтают парни о ВДВ. Любым оружием владеть легко. Знамя победы главней всего. ВДВ, с неба привет, ультрамариновый набо-берет. Феникс с волной и море погон, с неба навеки десант обручен. ВДВ, сколько побед, из парашютов белый букет. Радугой мирной порядку пола, слава десанту, честь и хвала. Честь и хвала. точках, в горах, лесах. Атаку вихрем ведет десант, срываясь ливнем внезапно вниз. И только ставка по жизни жизнь. ВДВ, с неба привет, ультрамариновый навык берет. Тельник с волной и море погон, с неба навеки десант обручен. ВДВ, сколько побед, из парашютов белый букет. Радугой мирный поряд купола, слава десанту, честь и хвала. ВДВ, с неба привет, ультрамариновый навык берет. Тельник с волной и море погон, с неба навеки десант обручен. ВДВ, сколько побед, из парашютов белый букет. Радугой мирный поряд купола, слава десанту, честь и хвала. Честь и хвала. Честь и хвала. Честь и хвала.
Join up now. Young people are joining from all over the UE. Join the 1st Royal Aerospace Marine Squadron and save the world. Service guarantees citizenship. We have the ships. We have the weapons. We need Marines. Like Trooper Surepain. And like Centurion Whole Armor. They're doing their part. Are you? We need you all. Service guarantees citizenship. Want to know more? The 1st Royal Aerospace Squadron is a Marine squadron first. We have a growing group and would like you to be a part of something great. We are a group who is going to enjoy being citizens, and we will be performing all sorts of lawful activities, not just the military ones. We will explore, mine, salvage, carry cargo, escort ships, and we will need shipboard Marines to defend our fleet and to be ready to board enemy vessels. Want to know more? Visit our recruiter at 1ras.engine.com. Service guarantees citizenship. All right, guys. Well, that was the end of the show. So, remember, how do you think it went?
Pretty good.
Good.
How about you?
Yeah, I thought it went really well. I appreciate you showing up and helping me out. I do appreciate that.
Not an issue.
Yeah. And all you guys that are still watching, you guys have a good night. I'm going to close down the stream now and catch you later.
Yep. Night.